Hello friends, and welcome back to this series of 9 videos about the 9 values of kidocratic education. Today's is the 9th value, and it is in the form of a formula. The base of libidinous humanity to the power of noble experiences is equal to the kidocratic dimension. To illustrate this value, I would like to talk about Babette's Feast, a Danish film that is based on the eponymous story by Isaac Dinesen. It is set in the 19th century in an impoverished village in Jutland in Denmark. In this village, an austere family of sisters preside over an aging community of a Lutheran Protestant church that was built by their father. The daughters had remained in the village, refusing suitors from elsewhere to please their now dead father. 35 years after that, Babette, a woman, arrives from Paris as a refugee from the Franco-Prussian War with a letter of recommendation from the suitor of one of the sisters. And though they have no money to pay her, she works as their housekeeper for free for 14 years. And her only link to Paris remains a friend who renews a lottery ticket every year for Babette. In all this time, Babette appreciates the love the sisters have for the community and the care they take of it. And when Babette wins the lottery of 10,000 francs, she chooses to spend all of it to give the sisters a feast with unheard of luxuries arriving from Paris. The sisters get worried that they might succumb to the sin of sensual pleasure, but they don't want to hurt her feelings, so they decide to partake in the feast but not talk about the food. Only one worldly guest at the table appreciates the value of the exquisite dishes, course after course, arriving at the table. But the food speaks for itself and offers the sisters the peak experiences that wash away their fears and mistrust, connecting them in a communal, mystical experience. It leads them out into the night, where they all hold hands, look up at the stars, and sing together. This is the kidocratic dimension. Here we see the libidinous base of humanity as maintained by the sisters, as well as the access of peak experience offered by Babette's art. Babette's gift is unreturnable. She blows all her money on this feast and continues to work with the sisters. And when the sisters feel sad that she only renewed her poverty, she says that artists are never poor. Babette is a sovereign artist. Even though she works for nothing, she is not a slave. She has remained with the sisters for molecular reasons. Babette embodies all the kidocratic values. She models being an artist. She is polymorphously perverse. She gives an unreturnable gift. She is minoritarian and a base materialist, that is, she feeds the body, not the soul. She is molecular. She is sovereign and practices the art of queer failure and has negative capability, that is, the ability to pursue beauty in the face of uncertainty. The gift is unique every time. It is anything that derails the economy of utilitarian exchange. In the case of Hamlet and Mr. Blonde, the gift was a strike against oppressive, productive economies. Me Too is a strike against patriarchal extraction, and BLM is a strike against white supremacy and fascism. School Strikes for Climate is a strike against the oppressively productive neoliberal consumerist economy. Here it is crucial to differentiate between the economy of expenditure and consumerism. Consumerism domesticates desire in the playpen of capitalism, where everything has a price. but sovereign expenditure refers to priceless experiences or actions that derail the flows of capitalism. Capitalism says work will set you free, just as the labor camps of fascism said, Arbeit macht frei. Work for a whole year and you will have a week in Bahamas. It domesticates desire by putting it through the channels of productivity. So if kidocratic education is aimed at adults, what are the repercussions for how we educate children? According to Deleuze and Guattari, if we allow ourselves to be children, we'll allow children to be children. If we follow our desires in what we do, we'll let them do the same. I like what Adam Phillips says about letting children learn only what they are interested in. And we too need to listen to our dreams, follow our unconscious desire, and talk back to the official education that comes from above. Adam Phillips says, we can privilege what we say by claiming it comes from a superior source that we, or some of us, have unique access to, God, the tradition, the unconscious, scientific method. If we want an alternative to this, in old-fashioned language, we would have to imagine a local God who didn't lay down laws, but simply made suggestions. What Nietzsche grandly called the innocence of becoming, the haphazard, unaccountable, intent project of a life, has been waylaid by the number of designs for a life on offer from those in the know. It's great that we are back to Nietzsche, who lauded indigenous religions and indigenous gods, who loved without demanding that we conform to the virtues that were designed by priests. Let us reject the nature-hating values of colonizers: work, progress, expansion, development, who massacred nature, criminalized the natives, punished pleasure, created slaves, and paved the way for extraction capitalism that has brought us to the cliff edge that we are at now. Under the cover of COVID, the world has become more fascist than before. According to a recent report, 87% of the world's populations are living in nations deemed closed, repressed, or obstructed. 87%. The fight for democracy and our planetary survival are the same thing. Friends, it is a now or never moment. Biden's win halted a precipitous descent. But as Ocasio-Cortez says, the question is if and how we will build ourselves back up. Kidocratic education is all about how we will build ourselves back up. It is about not settling for business as usual as our capitalist leaders want. It is about socialism from below, about creating parallel structures of support to become resilient, about forcing our governments to tax the rich and care for the vulnerable. It is about creating a care-centered and play-centered economy. It is about learning from minors and minorities how to topple fascism, disinvest from consumerism, strengthen global democracy, and regulate the 1% towards rewilding the planet and ourselves. In a weekly videocast, I will be addressing current events from kidocratic perspectives and interviewing leaders from the minors and minorities. I want to deeply thank the people of Toronto, or Toronto, meaning the meeting place in the Haudenosaunee language, for inspiring hope in me. I thank Indigenous land defenders for standing up for nature. I want to thank the Imaginative Film Festival for giving me priceless gifts. Let the metaphor of one dish, one spoon, which governed Indigenous care for the land around the Great Lakes, inspire us to take care of the planet and claim our pleasure in its diverse life forms. Let us blast the ceilings of patriarchy, colonialism, capitalism, and fascism through our Dionysian pleasures and molecular connections. Let us decolonize, unlearn, and rewild. See you next Saturday.